I walked into school, with whispers following me, but is it just me, or did the crowd seem even more chatty today? I nervously walked up to my locker and, oh my God! Splattered across it was the stamp, Teenage Karen in spray paint! I shivered from embarrassment, surrounded by giggles and gawping faces. I ran straight into the bathroom and shut myself in a cubicle to calm down. You might be wondering, how did I get here? I don't sound like those unreasonable, cocky people that usually grow into Karens, right? Because I'm not one of them. However, I realize how my actions could have caused this situation. I was adopted into one of those wealthy families who pressured their children to grow successful and flawless. As a result, I have never got any lower grade than an A or lost a competition. I was that perfect child that was too scared to fail, because nobody had ever taught her how failures work. But then one day, everything changed. One casual school day, I walked into the literature class and saw an unknown boy already occupying my desk. All the girls were giving him dreamy looks. "Hey!" I tapped on his shoulder. "Is this your seat?" "Yes." "Oh, sorry, I didn't know." He then moved to another desk. I forced a polite smile and took my seat. Then our literature teacher announced that we would have a little test today, not affecting our grades. Being the teacher's pet around here, I could tell this was because she wanted to test Austin, that new boy. Okay, fine by me. Another A+ to add to my collection. But only, I somehow couldn't concentrate. I looked out of the window, trying to find some writing inspiration, but that new guy was blocking my view. Okay, to be fair, he looks pretty cute. Without realizing it, I started staring at him. Then suddenly he turned to me. We made eye contact, which startled me. Oh gosh, wake up, Catherine! You have a test to finish! I tried to focus on my essay again, but I kept having this feeling of him looking at me. Jesus, I hope he didn't get the wrong idea. I'm not like those girls who only go to school to check out cute boys. Time's up! I nervously turned in my paper, as I knew I was distracted and didn't deliver my best. But never mind, nobody could beat me, even on my worst days. Well, not this time. The following day, the teacher handed me back my work and whispered, "I don't know what happened, but it's okay. Don't worry." Huh? I quickly took the paper and... B-? Okay, I knew I couldn't get an A+ with this one, but not even a normal A? I've never had a B before! The disappointed faces of my parents popped up in my mind. What if they wouldn't want me anymore? They adopted me, gave me this luxurious, perfect life, and this is how I thanked them? I started to panic and looked around to find the teacher. I needed to clear this up. And that's when I caught a glimpse of Austin's paper. An A? No way! I slammed it on the table and stood up. I protest this grade. There must have been some mistake. Can you please look over my essay? Oh, don't worry. This isn't an official test, so it's fine. No! It's not fine! How can I possibly be worse than this new kid? You have to reconsider it, or I'll take it to the principal! Kate, you're being unreasonable. Sit down, or I'll take you to the principal. I took a deep breath and calmed myself while sitting down. There were whispers about me circulating the class, but I couldn't care less, as I had this B- to deal with. My parents could never know about this. After this, I knew my friends were just pretending to be okay with me. As one time, when we had to team up for the relay running in PE class, no one picked me. In the end, Coach Malone had to add me to a group. And guess what? It's the group of Austin and his fangirls. I hate this. And look at him, such a thorn in my eye. I wish I could just throw this baton at his annoying face. But, thud, I fell face down just inches away from Austin. Are you okay? Just take the dumb baton and go. Ugh, this dude is definitely bad luck. I crawled up, then suddenly I heard giggles. It was a group standing by the track lanes with their phones up. Were they laughing at me? I stormed over to them with my hands up to cover their cameras. "What's so funny? Do you have any common courtesy?" Chill out. It's not, has no one taught you to help others in need? Not record them and laugh over it? No, listen. Funny story. So you still think it's funny? Delete that video right now. No, you can't. Just hear us out. But that only made me madder and yank on the phone even harder. Then, oops, the phone went flying and hit the hard concrete ground. Oh no, I didn't mean to. The boy whose phone it was freaked out and ran over to pick it up. "Look what you've done! Who would ever want to film you? We were just making a performance video for the cheerleading team." Through the cracked screen of his phone, I saw a video of the cheerleaders practicing on the field on the other side of the track lanes. Oh no, this was so embarrassing! I quickly asked for the guy's contact and promised I'll make up for his broken phone, then ran back to my class. I felt exhausted. It's like the whole world was against me. But at least there was always one thing that could ease my soul. Yes, it's my books. That's why whenever I feel drained, I'd go to the school library to relax. So, like every other time, I made my way there, but I think I'd forgotten my library card. Oh well, no big deal, as the librarian, Mrs. Flenderson, is basically family to me at this rate. She doesn't even ask for my card anymore. "Hi, Mrs. Flenderson," I said as I passed by the librarian's desk. But then I was taken aback by some unfamiliar voice. Where are you going? Card, please." It turned out Mrs. Flenderson was out of the office, and there's this freshman who volunteered to fill in. I asked her nicely to let me in, but she kept on saying no while chewing on her gum, which drove me crazy. Ugh. Listen, do you know who I am? I don't need some dumb card to get in here. Yeah, but not on my watch. Look, half of these books are from my family's donation. You should be showing some more respect, kiddo. Your snobby opinions won't work with me. Here, we attend the same school, so we're all equal and rules are rules. Let me speak to your supervisor. Call Mrs. Flenderson. You're such a Karen. I froze upon hearing that word. That was the first time I'd been called by that nickname, and only then I realized how much of a fuss I'd been making here. But it's just that I was already in such a terrible mood. All I wanted was to just go to my safe place, and that too was impossible now. I then quickly composed myself and walked away. But to my dismay, some passerby had been watching me throw a tantrum since God knows when. And yep, Austin was there too. Why would I be surprised anymore? My stories at the running track, also at the library, soon spread around the school like wildfire. People didn't try to hide the fact that they were avoiding me anymore and started calling me Karen. So, obviously, this one time when we had to pair up in literature class for the midterm essay, I was left alone again. At least, that's what I thought, until Austin leaned over and asked me to be his partner. Though I hated his guts, I could not fail this test. So, yeah, I've agreed. We met up later that day at his house. I was enthusiastically showing him some of the book options for our essays topic, but he was totally unbothered, scrolling through his phone. Yeah, whichever you like. He'll be taking care of all this anyway. What do you mean? Look, I only paired up with you because you're so good at this. So please just do your thing. Whatever. I don't care. I hate these. You don't like literature? But last time you scored an A. Oh, that? Don't be too bitter, as I just copied your work and changed it around a bit. So technically it's your A too. Yay! Congrats! What? So all of the stress I had to bear these past few weeks turned out was just because he cheated? Ugh! I was so angry! Feeling on emotional overload, I burst out crying, which got Austin flustered. Hey, what's wrong? Calm down. Don't cry. I'm sorry. Please stop crying. Then through tears, I started telling him about all the pressure I have to bear from my parents' expectations, and about all the Karen mishaps I've gotten caught up with lately at school, At one point, Austin apologized to me, as he realized this all originated from the act of him copying my essay. That night, we didn't get anything done for the essay, but we just sat down and talked. After such an oversharing session, Austin and I naturally got closer to each other. In fact, he became the only friend I had at school. It's nice to have a friend again, but it's still hard when your reputation at school was totally ruined, and everyone knew you as teenage Karen. Especially when I had a big speech contest coming up. I hadn't been in the right mind to study, so I barely had anything prepared for the competition. I kept imagining my parents' disappointed faces when I didn't win first place. The night before the contest, I was so stressed out that I had to pour it all out into my diary, in hope that I would feel lighter and ready for the big day. Then suddenly my phone rang. It was Austin. "Hey." "Good luck tomorrow, Kate. See you there." "Thanks. I don't know anymore." "Are you still stressed over it? If you're this worn out because of it, then I know a cure." "What is it?" "Just quit. It's just some contest, and you don't have to come first in everything. We're all just human after all." "You're crazy." "Okay, I'll get some sleep now. See you tomorrow." But my mind was too cluttered with thoughts and worries to sleep. The next morning, I arrived in front of the competition venue, but hesitated to go inside. Then suddenly, I found myself running away from that building while phoning Austin. "Meet me at the park, West Gate." 10 minutes later, he arrived in his car. I hopped in the front seat, then said, "Let's go to the theme park. I want to have fun." Austin looked at me, stunned, but then he smiled and drove off without a question. Yep, just like that. I dropped out of the contest and turned off my phone to just enjoy a day being a teenager. I went on all the scariest roller coaster rides, screaming my heart out, leaving all my worries behind. By dusk, I was 100% ready for my parents' tantrum. They probably would disown me now, but I felt strangely calm. As Austin drove up to my house, I could see my mom pacing back and forth in the front yard. There she was, already waiting to punish me. Upon seeing me, Mom ran straight over and gave me a hug. "Oh my God, honey! Where have you been all day? We've been worried sick about you." Wait, what's going on? Why isn't she angry? Then Dad also ran over to us as soon as he spotted me, holding something in his hand. "Sweetie, I'm so sorry for not knowing how much you've been through. We didn't realize our high expectations were putting so much pressure on you. We might have been too strict on you, but I want you to know that we'll always love you, no matter what." Oh, Dad was holding my diary. So, they know everything now. I cried tears of relief. It was so good to know they finally understood my feelings, and they even swore to change and try to listen to me more. That day, I realized that my parents loved me unconditionally, and whatever happened in my life, they would never give me up. "What's up, teenage Karen?" Yeah, my friends still call me Karen. But it's okay, as they only call me it in a jokey way. Nothing mean or anything. I'm over everything that happened, and so is everyone else. It's all just memories now, but thanks to that Karen phase, I was reminded not to be so strict on myself, so I don't end up being a Karen to my own self again.
It's almost the finish line. Just a little more. Come on, Bolt. We can make it. Yes, we've done it again. So, as you can see, the winner was me, Matilda, along with my horse, the heroic Bolt. This is our third win in a row already. Woohoo! It may only be a small hometown race with a modest prize, but it's still gonna go a long way in supporting my grandparents' farm. Now it's time for this guy to rest. Good boy, Bolt. You did amazing out there.
A 16-hand stallion, healthy, glossy coat, and a well-mannered temperament.
Geez, the horse dealers even follow me home now? I took a handful of hay, spun around, and hurled it at him. Go away! I don't want your stinking money. Bolt is not for sale. Right at that moment, my grandpa appeared.
Matilda, that is no way to speak to our guest of honor. I apologize for my granddaughter's behavior. She's a firecracker at times. Teenagers, you know. Anyway, it's dinner time. Please join us for a home-cooked meal right this way.
Huh? Guest of honor? Who could he be? Oh my god. It turns out the man was none other than Mr. Allen, the chairman of Allstellar Inc. Corp., the annual sponsor of my family's farm. I turned beet red and apologized profusely for being so rude to him.
No problem, kiddo. I like your spirit. I thought it'd be a good idea to check out the farm I'm sponsoring, and I stumbled upon the racing tournament. Oh boy, you sure can race, can't you, girl? Not many can handle a wet track at that speed. We have our reservations about her skipping school and competing in such dangerous races. But Matilda's insistent that she was a part of this family, so it's her responsibility to help us, her only remaining relatives.
Mr. Allen gave me this thoughtful look, then said,
How about this? The annual sponsorship for your grandparents' farm stays the same, and on top of that, you can move in with me and have a proper education.
Did I hear him right? I gasped. But who will take care of my grandparents? Sweetie, we still have our health. We can run this place just fine.
That's right, Maddie. Take your chance. Opportunities like this don't come twice.
But what about Bolt? I can't go without him.
Bring him along. I have a small horse farm where he can stay. You can help around the stables, and we can call it payment for your school fees, alright?
Well, I guess that's settled then. Yay! 1 week later, Mr. Allen sent his driver to pick me up, and the new chapter of my life started from here. Wait. Oh my god. This can't be it! Mr. Allen said it was a small horse farm, but this place, it's enormous. As soon as I stepped out of the car, a girl my age rushed over and hugged me. Matilda, you're finally here! I'm your new sister, Judy. I greeted her back with the widest smile. She seemed so sweet. She led me over to the front porch where Mr. Allen and a woman were waiting for me. It must be my new mom, but why was she giving me such a strange look? Before I could even introduce myself, she turned and walked into the house. Maybe she wasn't feeling very well. That evening, I dined on a lavish meal. We chatted lots, and the Allens seemed fascinated by my childhood life at the farm, especially Judy with her 10,000 questions. Sis, so, is it true that you have never seen your parents? Yeah, my father passed away in an accident before I was born, and my mom also left me when I was an infant. On hearing that, Judy gently comforted me while Mr. Allen smiled and said, Now, besides your grandparents, you also have us, your second family. You got a sister, a new dad here, and also your caring mom. Right, darling? Mrs. Allen flinched and dropped her fork. I immediately leaned over to ask, Mom, are you okay? But to my surprise, she just yelled at me. Don't call me that! Feeling flustered, I stared down at my plate. Had I done something wrong? Over the following days, I tried my best to get closer to Mom, but I was always met with coldness in return. One time, seeing Mrs. Allen was resting outside, I brought her an iced coffee. But as soon as she saw me coming over, she placed her hat over her face, pretending to be asleep. On another occasion, I complimented her dress, but she just tutted at me, then walked away. I really wanted her to like me, but it was useless. She clearly detested me. But at least I still have Judy and Dad by my side. Judy tried reassuring me that Mom was a good person and that she just needed a little more time to get to know me better. As for Dad, not only did he send me to a top school, but he also encouraged me to follow my passion. All the afternoons when I got to watch horse racing and bet on the winning horse with Dad were so much fun. And as I watched the horses gallop past, a thought crossed my mind. What if Bolt and I were the one on that track, winning the race and bringing back the huge prize money for my grandparents? I couldn't stop thinking about this. So one time, on the way back home from a race, I asked my dad if I could compete. And he didn't even hesitate to reply.
Why not? You do have a talent. How about give it a go?
Oh God, this was so exciting! My foster dad was the best, and I couldn't wait to give this my all and make him proud. After that, he immediately got me a personal coach and a dedicated team of trainers and groomers for Bolt. I'd never felt so happy, and Bolt had never looked so good. Everything was great, except that Mrs. Allen still seemed to have an issue with me. Every time I packed for practice, she always frowned and muttered stuff under her breath. Maybe she's irritated about the fact that an adopted child like me was receiving much more than I deserved, or something. But anyway, whether she liked it or not, with my talent, I'll quickly rise to be a brilliant rookie. One morning after practice, Judy came up to me and said, Matilda, can you teach me how to ride a horse? It might be a little scary for a first-timer. Are you sure you want to try? Yes, please. If I know how to ride, I can spend more time with Dad just like you do. I looked at her angelic, hopeful face. How could I say no? So I helped her onto Bolt and taught her how to hold the reins and do a few commands. It went smoothly at first, but suddenly Mrs. Ellen came out of nowhere and shouted, What are you doing? Judy, come down right now. Startled, Judy misjudged her movements and tumbled off Bolt. As we both rushed over to check on her, Mrs. Allen pushed me aside, which caused me to fall onto my butt. Do you know how important legs are to a ballet dancer? Are you intent on ruining her future? Before I could reply, she shouted, What an incompetent kid! Get out of my sight! Ugh, it was just a few scratches and bruises. Why was she so serious about it? And incompetent? Huh, fine. I'd show her what an incompetent kid can do. From then on, I got my head in the game and continuously won several small and medium prizes. I sent most of my winnings to help out my grandparents and kept the rest to treat Judy and myself to something nice. One day after dinner, Dad called me into his office and told me that the two biggest races of the year, the Grand Shields and the Royal Silverford, were coming up in 2 weeks, and he'd already signed me and Bolt up for them. But the two races were only 1 week apart. That would be too much for Bolt, cause the latest race seemed to wear him out. I mentioned this to Dad, but he was adamant that Bolt would be able to manage it. I didn't want to let Dad down, but I didn't want to hurt Bolt either. I needed time to think about it. As I left the room, I gave a petrified jump. There, in front of me, was a stone-faced Mrs. Allen. She grabbed my arm and yanked me into another room. You can't compete in the races. These are different from your usual amateur events. You're not good enough, and you'll only embarrass our family. Were you eavesdropping on my conversation with Dad? Listen, you're not my mother, so you can't tell me what to do. I will surely join it. Then I stormed out of there. Early in the morning of the first race, I was going to the stables to check on Bolt when I caught two of Mrs. Allen's servants sneaking out of there. What were they doing here? I went to investigate and... Huh? This is not Bolt! What has Mrs. Allen done to my horse? Right at that moment, Mr. Allen walked in with the vet. I told him what I'd just seen and he muttered out, That woman dares to get in my way, huh? I'll make sure she'll pay for it this time. Then he turned to me and said, Leave it to me. I'll find Bolt. Go get some rest and prepare yourself for the race. I'd never seen him this stern before, so I just nodded in concern. Despite all the drama, I still managed to bring home the Grand Shields Championship title. It's amazing, right? However, I couldn't fully enjoy the victory as one thing was still lingering on my mind. Mrs. Allen has been absent for the last 4 days. Could it be that Dad has done something to her? Hey, Judy, did Mrs. Allen say she was going somewhere? Dad told me that Mom's been so stressed lately, so he arranged for her to go to Aunt Anna's villa to rest. Oh, it seemed like what Dad said at that time was just an expression of anger. At least I had one less thing to worry about. You see, my main concern at the moment is Bolt, as his health has clearly deteriorated since the previous race. The vet says he's doing fine, but through Bolt's heavy breathing, I know something isn't right. A week passed by and the day of the second tournament finally arrived. While the vet was checking on Bolt before the race, Dad suddenly pulled me outside. We must win today's match. I expect a lot from you. I had a bad feeling about this somehow, but I still nodded and assured him that I would do my best. The race was about to begin. Everything's in check. I'm ready for it. But wait. Why does Judy look so flustered? Maddie, Mom was not on a trip. The storage room. Dad locked her there because she found out what he was up to. He's doping Bolt. What is she talking about? Could it be that the vet who came in earlier was drugging Bolt then? But no way. If there's anyone wanting to harm me and Bolt, it's Mrs. Allen, not Dad. Listen, Mom only swapped Bolt the other time to protect you. Before I could shape what happened, I saw a burly man covering Judy's mouth and pulling her away. Then a voice whispered in my ear.
only one game left. Just keep your mouth shut and do it properly. If you lose, I can make things very uncomfortable for you and your grandparents. Got it? Now get on the horse. A chill ran down my spine. I felt like I was gonna vomit. How could the caring, kind man I called Dad turn out to be such a fraud? The signal of the match rang out. Ugh, what should I do? I couldn't let that wicked man get what he wanted. So I closed my eyes and stayed put. What do you think you're playing at? Run! Run now! Mr. Allen went crazy and rushed over to me. But right at that moment, the organizer appeared and asked me to take Bolt for a health check. They led Bolt away and brought me and Mr. Allen to the office, where I was shocked to see a frantic-faced Mrs. Allen cuddling Judy. It turns out that Judy had freed her mom from the room Mr. Allen had locked her in. Then she'd come straight here and handed the organizers incriminating paperwork of her husband's corrupt doings. Mr. Allen glared at me and shouted, I had to raise you without any benefits just because of her. Now it's your turn to pay me back. Then he immediately charged at me. But Mrs. Allen quickly covered for me and pushed him away. And one of the race organizers restrained him. Don't you dare harm my daughter. Huh? Daughter? Mrs. Allen looked at me with tear-soaked eyes. Sweetie, please give me a chance to explain. I fidgeted the coffee cup in my hand and stared at the ground while Mrs. Allen told me her side of the story. Turns out she really is my biological mom. Can you believe that? After my dad passed away, in her vulnerable state, she fell for Mr. Allen's forced charm and fake words. But he soon showed his real face and heartlessly separated me and my mom after they married. That's why she could only secretly send money to our farm under Mr. Allen's name. Mom also recognized me from the beginning, but she didn't say anything as she knew that Mr. Allen adopted me just to get Bolt, a horse that could help him win some shady bettings. If I knew the truth and rebelled against him, he would harm me. I'm so sorry for all these years, especially these past few months. It has been extremely hard for me, having to treat my dear daughter so badly. But that was the only way to push you away from him, from this rotten house. I didn't want you to be in danger, just like how your real dad was, when he worked for him. Please forgive me, Matilda. Tears kept rolling down my cheeks. Turned out, I always had a mother protecting me. Mom pulled me in for a tight hug. Mom! I hugged my mother tightly. I really love and miss you. Please forgive me. I looked up to her and smiled. Of course, yes. I'm more than happy to have you back in my life, Mom. And the best sister I could ever wish for, too.
You are probably wondering why all eyes are on us. This is nothing new. Actually, this pretty much always happens when we walk through school together. Look, they're truly the high school version of Kim K and Paris Hilton, aren't they? Agreed. They're quite charming. Yeah, that's us. I'm Robin, and the Hilton to my Kardashian is Allison, my BFF. Don't let her snooty look fool you. She's actually a really nice girl who's always there for me. I never had to worry about a thing being with her. We've basically been inseparable since forever. Ugh, Candace, you so did that on purpose. Oops, sorry. It's just too hard for my eyes to notice something as lame as you. Oh, really? So it has nothing to do with the fact you're afraid I'll take your cheerleading spot and beauty queen title? As if. You're no competition for me. This wasn't a new thing. Because Allison is so beautiful and talented, she often gets into altercations with the jealous mean girls. Now, thanks to the Candace drama, we're late for class. We were hurrying along the corridor when suddenly Allison stopped. A poster caught our eyes. It was for the contest to find the new cheerleading captain. Perfect! I can't wait to win and wipe that smug grin off Candace's face. You're gonna register too? Of course I am. I'm gonna teach that girl a lesson. Just you wait and see. Oh, snap. The truth is, I had also signed up for the competition and was waiting for the right time to tell Allison, but who knew she would suddenly become so determined to win this? If Allison found out I was going to be her rival, what would she think? Oh, what should I do? I don't want to upset her, but I really need to win this competition too. Why, you ask? It's for one person. It was him, Steve, the basketball team captain, and also Allison's cousin. I've had a huge crush on him, but the problem is that he's not exactly short on fangirls, including Candace. I'd never be as forward as her, so I just watched him from afar. But what if I'm no longer a nobody and become the cheerleading captain? Then Steve would notice me, and I'd be confident enough to open my heart to him. Right? But things were way too difficult when I have to face up to not only Candace, the resident mean girl, but also Allison, my BFF. Great! It's true what they say. Putting something off will definitely come to bite you eventually. As I was having lunch with Allison in the cafeteria, Candace and her friends stopped in front of our table. So, you think you can compete with us? Go on then. Eat up and grow strong, little girl. If you have a problem with me, then deal with me. Leave my friend alone. Okay, princess. Not everything is about you. I'm talking to her. Oh, wait. Look at this lost puppy. Hasn't Robin right here told you that she's also competing for the cheerleading captain position? Then Candace and her friends left, leaving me to face Allison's surprise and anger. I was planning to... You really want to compete against me? I just want to try. Wow, I've never expected you to stab me in the back like this. Unbelievable! Then she stormed off, leaving me there feeling dumbfounded, staring at my ruined lunch. I know I should have told her in the first place, but her reaction was way worse than I expected. For the rest of that day, I couldn't find her anywhere. Not at school, not at her house. So before going to bed, I texted her saying how sorry I was, and that I also had my side of the story, which I would tell her all about, but only after the contest. This was just a little misunderstanding. My awesome Allison would forgive me by the break of dawn, right? But nope. After that, Allison started treating me like I was invisible. No matter how hard I tried to talk to her, she wouldn't listen and just said, I don't need any explanation, backstabber. Drop out of the contest, then we'll talk. Drop out? No way! I mean, I really need this. And, hang on, why couldn't I try out? So what? I kept it a secret from her. Was I supposed to tell her every single thing that I did? It was so upsetting to see us falling apart like this. But I had to sort out my priorities too. So as heartbreaking as it was, I had to put aside this temporarily broken friendship to strive for the biggest goal right now. The captain title. I poured all my focus into cheer practice and often stayed late so I could hone my skills. All my hard work paid off when the teacher complimented my technique. Meanwhile, Allison only received negative feedback. I turned to give her an encouraging smile, but she gave me a hateful look back. Did she think I was the cause of her poor form or what? I was about to leave when Allison walked in. I said hi, but she just ignored me. Seeing that, Candace didn't miss her chance to mock us. Being betrayed by your best friend must suck. Oh dear, if it was me, I wouldn't be able to go to school. Allison angrily slammed the locker door shut and walked straight out of there, while Candace and her friends were laughing. Ugh, they were the worst. The day of the competition finally came and I was so nervous. But hang on, I couldn't spot Allison anywhere. I was trying to look for her when I heard my name over the loudspeaker. It's my turn already. I was backstage on standby, when suddenly I heard someone talking about Allison having an accident and not being able to attend the competition. Oh my god, Allison. Is she okay? But before I could run over to ask them more questions, I was pushed out to the stage. The music was already playing, but I felt too overwhelmed and anxious to start. Sensing my nerves, the whole stand gave me a round of applause to cheer me on. I looked down at the audience and took a deep breath, tried to concentrate, and started my performance. As soon as the music ended, the whole room burst into endless applause. The judges nodded and smiled at me. I was too worried about Allison to celebrate, so right after my performance, I rushed over to her house to check. But she didn't welcome me at all. How dare you show your face here? Not after what you did! What do you mean? I heard that you fell, so I rushed here right after the competition.
Stop the act. I know you snuck up behind me and pushed me yesterday. Thanks to you, I had to quit the contest.
What is she saying? Allison disappeared off upstairs. I rushed over to help her, but she pushed me over.
Go away! We're not friends anymore.
I was so upset that I burst into tears, and when I got up from the ground, I saw Steve standing at the bottom of the stairs. Did he see it all? I was so embarrassed that I fled as quickly as possible. And things didn't stop getting worse. I've never been so scared to go to school before in my life. It's all thanks to the school forum post accusing me of pushing Allison. Now my voting rank has dropped, and kids I don't even know are giving me dirty looks. Suddenly Steve came up from nowhere and started talking to me. Allison hasn't been in a right mood recently. I'm sorry on her behalf. This was not a dream, right? Steve had never bothered with me before, so why now? For you, this is a lucky pouch containing feng shui gemstones. If you wish for something, confess to the pouch a sin of yours, and the wish will come true. It's proportional to each other. The bigger the sin, the grander the wish. But use it carefully, as either opened or overused, it will weaken its energy. I watched as Steve turned his back and left. This was such a sweet thing for him to do, especially as everyone else was treating me like I was a walking plague cloud or something. But did this pouch really have magic powers? I guess there's only one way to find out, right? I call upon the magical powers of this pouch to confess that I purposely hid the flashy dress Mom bought me, then lied that I'd lost it so I wouldn't have to wear it. I'm so sorry. I wish I'll get a good grade for my chemistry test tomorrow so she'll be happy. After making the wish, I carefully put it in my backpack, hoping tomorrow during the test it would work. But no, the last question was pretty much impossible. I sighed, thinking the A was about to slip out of my hand, when suddenly Kevin, the smartest guy in class, threw me a piece of paper when the teacher didn't notice. I stealthily opened it. Whoa! It was the answer to that one question I had left. I quickly filled in my paper without thinking any further. A few days after, I got my test results, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw an A in front of me. It must be the powers of the magic pouch, as normally Kevin didn't even talk to me. Fascinating. And so, I made a few more wishes, and they all came true. Once I even confessed that I accidentally spilled water and damaged my computer, and wished Mom would buy me a new one. Unbelievably, 2 days later, Mom bought me a MacBook and said it was an early birthday present. This pouch was a miracle, so it was time I used it for my most important wish. I call upon the magical powers of this pouch to confess that I kept this secret from Allison and practiced every night, then signed up for the cheerleader competition. I want to win just because I long for Steve's attention and to gain the confidence to confess to him. Please help her recover quickly, and for us to make up and be as close as ever. After wishing, I breathed a sigh of relief. It felt good to finally get this all off my chest. The next day after school, I was pretending to be walking past the basketball court as usual when Steve called me over and handed me a bottle of juice. Looks like the pouch really exerts its power. Actually, Robin, there's no magic. I just snuck a MIDI recorder in that pouch to figure out if you were the one to mess with Allison. I'm sorry. What? In that lucky pouch is a mini recorder? So it also means he heard everything, including my love confession? I blushed cherry red and didn't know how to react, when he suddenly sighed. Hey, do you suspect anyone? I still want to find out who the culprit is. Candace? She has a grudge against Allison. Candace. Then I have a way. See you around. Since I found out that Steve knew I liked him, I've been wondering why he didn't give me a reaction back. Maybe his silence is rejection? As soon as I entered the cafeteria, I saw the crowd rushing around. Oh my God. It's Steve and Candace with linked arms. Wait, what was that in her hand? It sure looked a lot like a lucky pouch. Could it be? While Candace wasn't paying attention, Steve turned his head around, smiled, then winked at me. Oh, that's it. Steve was just acting so he could get information from her. The day after, Steve invited me to the treehouse in his garden to listen to Candace's recording. But it turns out, Candace was not the culprit that caused Allison's accident either. She just admitted to some nonsense slurs and pranks and wished to win the championship, and for Steve to love and spoil her. Then who is it? Somehow Allison keeps insisting it's you. How about you give Allison the pouch? I want to listen to her feelings too. And so, the magic pouch was also passed on to Allison. The next evening, after my late practice, Steve and I went to the park nearby to listen to Allison's confessions. Dear magic spell pouch, I actually didn't fall. Robin was getting so good and I wasn't confident that I'd win and losing to her would be humiliating. So, I spread the news that I had an accident so I didn't have to participate and blamed everything on her. Everyone loves her. Even Steve has a secret crush on her. While me... What? That means it was all planned by Allison? And Steve had a crush on me? Is that true? My thoughts are all over the place right now. Then before I could blurt out a word, he took my hand to go to Allison's house. What is this, Allison? Can you explain this? So what? Why does such an ordinary girl like her get so many good things? I deserve it, not her. Allison, why? Without even letting me finish my sentence, Allison slammed the door shut. At least I knew the truth now, right? Even though it sure was ugly. I really have nothing left now. I lost my best friend, and with only one more day until the voting for the contest comes to an end, it looks like Candace will win. But as soon as I stepped into the classroom, everybody rushed over to me and waved their phones in my face. Huh? Oh, there's a new post on the school forum. It turns out that Allison shared the truth, and even apologized to me. I knew it. My bestie is always a very kind person. Thanks to that, my vote soared and got to first place. And this is the moment I've been waiting for. The new leader of our cheerleading team is Robin Smith. Through my ecstatic grin, I noticed someone standing from afar. It's Allison. Seeing me, she hurried away, but luckily I was able to catch her up. Allison, thank you. I'm sorry for hurting you like that. No, I'm the one at fault. Although it was awkward at first, we soon got past this, then managed to talk straight to each other. Allison apologized for everything, then she congratulated me and gave me a hug. Oh, right. Now that I'm the winner, I can confidently confess my feelings to Steve, right? No need, because he already did that to me. Thank you for staying beside me. But, Steve, I still wonder how that bag could fulfill all my wishes. The other things are understandable, but the MacBook was unreal. Yeah. I may have called your mom pretending to be the teacher and told her that a MacBook for studying was compulsory. I can't believe I'm standing here in the middle of this frenzied concert with a crowd of crazy fans cheering for this Isaac guy, who I don't even care about. Hi, I'm Hazel, by the way. When I agreed with my friends to go on this road trip all the way to Carolina to attend a skydiving festival, well, this wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, that's them, Ivy and Zoe, the girls who tricked me into thinking this, their idol's concert, was the opening of the festival. There I was, eagerly awaiting some amazing aerial display or something, but instead, I was stuck in Fanville. Ugh, why were they so loud? My hearing better not be permanently damaged from this. And as you can see, being the only calm one here, they placed me in charge of their fan cams. Worse still, why did I specifically order these custom matching hoodies for us all? It made me look like I was part of these groupies. Finally, this din was over, but I was stuck amongst the slow-walking fans. And where were my friends? I couldn't even call them as my battery had died. I'll just get a taxi back to our Airbnb rental, then contact them from there. I'm too exhausted anyway. Let's just get out of this place ASAP. Forget about this chaotic night, as I'll be having a bird's eye view of the world at the actual Fall Fest tomorrow. and that's all that matters. Wow, this festival had everything going for it. From attentive service, amazing live music, and great food. It was so worth enduring that awful concert for. Everything was going great, until I saw Ivy's panicked face. Girls, it's our beloved Isaac. After the concert last night, he disappeared with a mysterious girl. Look at this hoodie. Does it seem familiar to you? Oh my God, that's one of our custom-made group hoodies. Could it be? I could clearly see Zoe's suspicious gaze on me and Ivy. What's that look for? Are you suspecting me? Well, whatever. It wasn't me, that's for sure. Ivy, you took way too long to get back to the car last night. As for you, Hazel, you were unreachable for ages. Geez, my battery died. I told you both this. And I have nothing to do with your precious idol. Besides, if any of us did run away with him, then we'd hardly be standing here, would we? Anyway, you two can stay here and doubt each other if you want, but I'm going skydiving. Then I stormed off. It's so frustrating that I've been dragged into this. My phone only died thanks to their stupid fan cams. That's enough. Let's just forget about it. I won't let anything ruin this moment. Guys, look! I'm amongst the clouds! 10,000 feet above the ground, and my breath is literally taken away. No matter how many times I've done this, it still feels just as thrilling as the first time. This adrenaline rush was crazy! Whoa, that was amazing! Thank goodness I managed to capture some spectacular footage of the beautiful city of Chester. Hang on. When I was close to landing, my camera spotted a familiar face. Zoe. Wasn't she meant to be preparing to fly? So why was she talking to someone in the parking lot? It was really weird. Looking closer, the strange man was Isaac, the missing singer. I didn't see it wrong, did I? I immediately called Ivy and we quickly ran to the parking lot. Gotcha! You better have a good reason for this. Isaac? Are you really? So, you're the one who ran away with him last night? Zoe couldn't say a word at that point and kept trying to avoid eye contact with us. But eventually, under the harsh questioning from Ivy, she found her voice and told us everything. So, last night, when we were separated in the after-concert chaos, Zoe was trying to find us when she accidentally bumped into a guy in disguise. Guess what? Yep, it was none other than Isaac McGuire in the flesh. She almost screamed out his name, so he immediately covered her mouth and dragged her away. Realizing that Isaac was being chased, Zoe then put her hood up to cover her face and followed him without a question. This hectic schedule was just too much. I can't even remember the last time I had proper time for myself anymore. I need a break. Ugh, and I didn't care. But Ivy sure looked like she was going to drop a tear for her poor idol any second now. Well, you see? It's an emergency. I couldn't help but give him a hand. Then we've already parted ways last night, but my manager has been able to track me down, so we had to run away ASAP. All I have with me is this phone, so I really need your help. And that's when we start to hear some whispers. Someone seemed to have recognized Isaac, so without delay, we immediately jumped into the car. But, Who on earth was sitting next to me? Jeez, this girl's makeup was so flashy, and her perfume was so strong it made my throat lump up. Siren! You're Siren, aren't you? Oh, I adore your chemistry with Isaac in the movie. It's like you guys were born for each other. But, wait, are you two running away together? It turned out that the flamboyant girl was Siren, an emerging actress who was filming a movie with Isaac. Looking at the way she blushed while Isaac remained silent and didn't deny it, it was clear that they were a couple who took their romance off screen. Busy schedule? Exhausted? Nonsense. Obviously, he was just making excuses to spend time with his girlfriend. Oh my, you're even more beautiful in real life. Your face is a gift from heaven. OMG, Ivy needed to stop. Looking at Siren's smug face, she was clearly big-headed enough without any more flattery. But nope, Ivy continued gushing out a river of compliments at her. I mean, does she seriously like this actress that much? Your nose is so pretty from up close. Where'd you get your nose job? Hearing that, Siren immediately stopped smiling and covered her nose in annoyance, which almost made me burst out laughing. Chin shaving surgery, lip filler, nose job. How can she even act with such a stiff face? Sorry to bother everyone, but staying at a hotel is not a good idea right now. Can you guys help us find alternative accommodation?
Yes. I volunteer to help you two.
I watched in disgust as Ivy and Zoe frantically called and texted their acquaintances, but no one could help. Suddenly, Ivy turned to me and gave me her puppy dog eyes look.
Hazel, you're our last hope. You must help us, please.
Oh, not that again. Ivy knows I can't say no to her when she makes that pleading face. Okay, fine. Even though I didn't want to, I agreed to let them come to my family's suburban house for a few days. It'll only be a few days. I didn't want any of my family members to know I'd been there. Wow, I can't believe I hadn't been here in 10 years. This place held some of my childhood's good memories, but also some not-so-good ones. Especially one haunting one.
Why didn't you tell us that your family is loaded? It would be so nice to live in a huge mansion like this.
But it seems like your family doesn't come here often. It's so cold and cheerless. Yeah, he's right. Ever since that day, this place was never a home to me anymore, but just a hollow house of gloom. I was still lost in my thoughts when a deafening sound of something breaking came from upstairs. We all rushed upstairs to see what all the noise was about, and found Siren standing there in my parents' bedroom, a broken vase at her feet, and worse still, she was wearing my mom's dress. Take it off right now! Siren just shrugged, stepped over the broken vase pieces, then strutted across the room and even stopped to pose at the end. Pff, it's just an old dress. Why so serious? I was so furious that on her walk back I tripped her up, causing her to fall flat on the floor. Isaac hurriedly helped her up, and she hid behind his back and did her whole crocodile tears act, saying I was picking on her. Oh, please. I'd had quite enough of this drama queen for one day, so I was about to lunge at her to teach her a lesson, but Isaac blocked me. Excuse, Siren. That was immature of her, but I suggest you should calm down first.
That's right, Hazel. The two of them didn't bring any personal belongings. Anyway, Siren was just a bit careless.
You'd better watch your girlfriend closely. Change your clothes. Never touch my mom's stuff again. Got it? Now I'll arrange the rooms for all of us. Well, there were only 2 usable bedrooms here, since most of them were dusty and unfurnished. So I took the couch and gave one room to my friends, and the other room to the loving couple. But as Siren gave a satisfied look and took Isaac's hand to lead him to their room, he just shook her away and said I could have the bed, and he'd take the couch. Oh no, the couch is mine. I didn't want to share a bed with her. But Isaac ignored my protests and plopped down onto the couch to claim it. Zoe and Ivy quickly scurried upstairs. They caused this mess, yet it's clear neither of them was bold enough to share a room with Siren. What a bunch of annoying, obnoxious celebs. Anyway, I was exhausted. It was time for me to hit the sack. That girl better not snore. Siren started playing some dumb white noises, then instantly fell asleep. Me, on the other hand, even after turning off that weird lullaby of hers, I kept on tossing and turning. Ugh! It was no use. Sleep wasn't happening. So I left the room to get some air. I was about to go downstairs to get some water when I heard a piano playing. Oh, Heart and Soul. It had been so long since I'd heard these beautiful melodies. The music carried me to a room where the silhouettes of a man passionately playing the piano came into sight. Oh, memories. I loved nothing more than sitting next to my dad and playing happy songs with him. But then, everything fell apart. And I hadn't touched the piano since, well, until today.
I sat down next to him and let my fingers glide over the keys. I was immersed in the harmonious melodies of the music and let the notes take me back to the past until a scream snapped me out of it. What on earth are you two doing?
This view of the Alps is magnificent. Wow, I've never felt this free before. Huh? Hang on. Are those meowing sounds that I'm hearing? I followed the sounds to the raging river nearby, and there, stuck on a rock in the middle of it, was a terrified cat. Oh no, poor baby. I've got to help it. I quickly grabbed onto the nearby tree, then leaned out towards the rock with an opened umbrella on the other hand for the cat to jump onto. The cat hesitated for a bit before making the leap, but it's heavier than I expected. I lost my balance and tumbled into the river. I grabbed the cat just in time, but the strong current made it impossible to float. In a panic, I screamed for help, but the waves lapped over me and gulps of water filled my mouth, and just like that, I felt my surroundings darken. Ugh, what was this wet, scratchy thing rubbing on my face? I opened my eyes to see that cat sitting on me. Thank goodness it was okay, but where am I? This seemed like some kind of rustic cottage house. Suddenly, a man walked into the room with a food tray. Who are you?
Relax, I'm the one who jumped into the river to rescue you both.
Turns out he happened to pass by the river while we were swallowed by the current, and he didn't hesitate to jump in to save us, then brought us back to his home. Oh, thank you for everything.
Sure, here, eat up. So, how come you and Topaz fell into the waterway?
Who? Oh, you mean the cat? How come you know his name?
It says it right here, see? I'm guessing this is not your cat then?
I told him how I accidentally found Topaz, so its family must live around here somewhere. Hearing this, he agreed to help me find Topaz's owner the next day. He even gave me his bed for the night, then walked out saying he'd sleep on the couch. But as a guest, I couldn't let him do that, so I just grabbed the blanket and went to sit next to him. You have a cool tattoo there. Kinda looks like a mini Mars, right?
Nah, it's my birthmark. The only thing my parents left me.
Hans then told me that he grew up not having a clue who his parents were or why they abandoned him. At 18, he moved out of his foster home and came here to become an herbalist. I felt so bad for him, and in a way, I could relate. Being alone is difficult, but having both mom and dad won't guarantee your happiness. I was born into a well-off family with both of my parents, but the thing was, they only got together due to an arranged marriage, and they have resented each other ever since. My house always felt so cold and empty, and I hated staying there. So, as soon as I graduated high school, I took a gap year to travel the world. Actually, Switzerland is my first stop. Gotta say, it's nice to have someone to talk to like this. I guess Hans felt the same way by this look he gave me. He seemed very touched. The next morning, we took Topaz to the town to ask around. Turned out, today was their annual festival, so a horde of people crammed along the street to celebrate and watch the parade. Hans held my hand so I didn't get lost, but somehow the crowd still pulled me away and I ended up stuck among these sweaty people. Suddenly, a hand grabbed mine and led me out of there. Phew, thank God, I couldn't breathe in there. And you know what? A super handsome, stylish guy was standing in front of me.
Are you okay?
That's when I noticed the tail of my shirt was ripped. Freaked out, I tried to cover it up, so he took out a silk scarf and tied it around my waist. For a second there, I froze to the spot, so amazed by his thoughtfulness. Just at that moment, my phone buzzed with a call from Hans. He told me to meet him at the fountain. Slight problem? I had no idea where that was. Well, lucky me, this gallant guy offered to take me there. We talked along the way, and I found out his name's Willard. He lives in a nearby town and was here for the festival. I told him I came to find the owner of the lost cat I'd found. Then, when I showed him the picture of Topaz, he couldn't hide his shock.
Are you sure this is the cat you found?
I nodded. He stayed silent for a while, then said,
I might know its owner, but I gotta go now. Bring the cat to meet me there. Faye, it was nice meeting you.
Then he bowed down to kiss the back of my hand before he left. How sweet! I watched as he disappeared into the crowd. Thanks to Topaz, I got the chance to meet him again.
Why are you making that funny face?
I told him about my encounter with Willard and convinced him to come with me to the address on the handkerchief. He seemed skeptical at first, but then gave in. I mean, other than this, we had no clue. It was worth a shot, right? The next day, we went to the place Willard told us. But seriously? Is this right? Why were there a line of people all holding near-on identical cats to Topaz? They even had the same collar as him. What is going on? I walked over to ask an old man sitting on a bench. He told me the millionaire lady who lives here had lost her dearest cat, Topaz. People said his name was on the top of her inheritance list, and she promised to greatly reward anyone who safely returned him, so these frauds were trying to deceive the owner by bringing some Topaz look-alike here.
But Madame Primrose is no fool.
Huh? Madame Primrose? The iconic designer and president of Wisteria Fashion Corp?
That's right.
Oh my God! I immediately dragged Hans to stand in the line. You see, my childhood dream was to become a fashion designer, and, of course, the one I admired the most was none other than Madame Primrose! Ah! One of the reasons I came to Switzerland was to find her and hopefully become her apprentice. And now look, what are the odds? Finally, it was our turn, but...
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. All right, everyone, listen up. Madame Primrose won't accept any topazes from now on, as she's tired of your deceit. So, disperse.
What? We didn't just wait half a day here for nothing. Fine, I'll find another way to get in. We then walked around the mansion and found its side gate. Then, just when we were climbing over it, a maid caught us. But she didn't make a fuss out of it. Instead, she seemed a bit flirty towards Hans. Ooh, I had an idea. There's our chance. You go and charm her. He seemed confused at first, but then got the point.
Hey, I think you're really cute.
Hans then tried his best at flirting, and as soon as she swooned, I asked her to help us return Topaz to his owner. The maid hesitated at first, but when we said that we didn't need to be repaid or anything, she agreed to let us in. We quickly split up to find Madame Primrose. I wandered the maze-like hallways. Then I suddenly bumped into someone. Mind your way! Wait, I don't know you. What are you doing here?
She's my new friend. Is there a problem?
I'm sorry, young master. It was Willard. He came to rescue me again. Great to see you again, young Master Willard. You live here?
Why didn't you call me when you arrived? Did you bring the cat? Where is it? Give it to me right now.
Willard, calm down. Topaz is safe. I just found out his owner is Madame Primrose and...
I'm her grandson. Just give the cat to me now.
His agitated behavior didn't seem right. I took a few steps back from him, refused to do what he said, then ran.
You don't understand.
Just at that moment, Hans and Madame Primrose appeared.
There you are. Are you okay?
He worriedly asked. But boy, all I could see right now was Madame Primrose. She approached me, held my hand, and repeatedly thanked me for risking my life to rescue Topaz. This was amazing, but why did Willard just leave without saying anything? Madame Primrose invited us to stay for dinner that evening. Joining us were Willard and his mom, Agneta. Madame then told me how much Topaz meant to her. 20 years ago, she lost her son, Mr. Alvarez, to a car accident. Then a year later, her grandson Leroy disappeared. Her grief was almost unbearable, but then she was gifted a cat, Topaz, and thanks to him, she began to heal. I tried comforting her by saying she still had Willard, her other amazing grandson with an excellent fashion sense inherited from his grandma. But to my surprise, Madame Primrose said Willard isn't her real grandson, since Agneta is actually Mr. Alvarez's second wife and was a stepmom to the missing grandson Leroy, and Willard was her son with her ex-husband. I could see Willard and his mom were feeling so uncomfortable. Willard must have felt so hurt as Madame Primrose never even thought of him as a family member. Then my train of thought was interrupted by Hans. Why didn't he just tell me to pass him the salt instead of sticking his right arm to my face like this? Suddenly, Agneta gave him a mortified look and spilled wine all over the table.
Mom, are you okay?
She didn't reply, but just left. I could tell it was because she saw Hans's birthmark. What could this be? Has she no manners? She must be unwell. I'll go check on her. So I followed her to the garden gazebo. That's where I heard her talking to someone on the phone. You had one simple job. Take that pampered Moggy miles away. Well, guess what? It came back. I gasped in shock, and right then, a hand covered my mouth.
Shh! Be quiet.
Oh, but it gets worse. The stupid cat brought Leroy, the missing grandson, home. That's right. I saw that Mars birthmark with my own eyes. If Primrose finds out about this, we're done. You hear me? Wait, so Leroy, Madame Primrose's only grandchild, is actually Hans. And his stepmom was the one who secretly gave him away in the first place. Even worse, I was hearing this shocking news with her son. Willard, get it together. Do you know anything about her plan?
I knew Mom was behind Topaz going missing. That's why I tried to take the cat away earlier, to keep him safe from her. But Leroy too? That was just heartless. What should I do now? She's my mom, after all.
I could see his pure and kind soul being tormented, and my heart ached for him. I know it must be hard, but you need to tell Madame Primrose the truth and make things right. That's a way to help your mom redeem herself, okay? He stared at me with those dreamy eyes of his, and I felt my heart turn to mush. But a phone call from Hans interrupted us. He was looking for me, saying we gotta go. Right, I had to tell him the truth. In a cab back to Hans's cottage, I told him everything, and he just burst out laughing, saying,
I'm Leroy, the heir of a millionaire? Oh, please.
I'm serious. You were brought to the foster home exactly 19 years ago, and you both have this one-of-a-kind birthmark.
Okay, so what if I'm really her grandson? I don't even know her, and I'm definitely not rich kid material.
You've been lonely your entire life. This is your chance to find the family you've always wanted. Hans was speechless. It seemed I'd hit his weak spot, and he finally agreed. We asked the driver to take us back to the mansion. But no one was awake at that hour except a gardener. He led us to a library deep into the mansion, brought out tea, and told us to wait. Just a few minutes later, Hans started coughing, and his face swelled up. Oh no, he must have been allergic to something in the tea. Panicked, I screamed for help, and the gardener came back and carried Hans to the car. But then a hand muzzled me from behind, and everything went dark. I woke up with my head pounding and unable to move. As I tried to make sense of the situation, I realized I was tied to a chair, mouth taped, surrounded by some rusty, unsanitary medical tools. And on the other side of the room, Hans was unconscious and tied to a patient's bed. Standing next to him was Agneta and the gardener and a guy in a blouse with some kinds of tools in his hand, about to do something to Hans's birthmark. I tried to scream and struggled to break free, but I couldn't move an inch. Right at that moment, Willard barged in.
Stop this! Leave right now, or I'll call the cops for your unlicensed business. And Mom, I already know everything, so please, have some remorse.
Agneta looked so ashamed of herself. Willard, everything I did it for you. Please understand. You saw how that old hag Primrose treated me. I was so miserable. Then your dad offered to help me.
Dad? You mean Tim? How can he be my dad? Don't be such a wimp, son. I've stayed and worked here like a servant just to be close to you. We did all this so you can be the only heir. You deserve that. Now, finish it.
I can't, Tim.
Get away from my mom, you dirtbag. You never cared about me. You only moved here to manipulate her to do your dirty work. A terrible person like you will never be my dad. Then I'll do it.
As he was about to lay hands on Hans, suddenly there was a meowing sound and Topaz appeared, followed by Madame Primrose. Step away from my grandson. You dared to live under my roof all this time and play foul tricks on my family? Take him away. Luckily, Hans came round, and he had a tearful reunion with his grandma. They finally had the closure they deserved. Hans decided to stay in the mansion with his long-lost family. He's even planted an herbal garden there for treating and healing people, as he always wished. Madame Primrose had finally found peace, as now she had both her beloved grandson and precious cat back. She also thought that maybe she'd been too strict on Agneta, so she decided not to press any charges against her. Agneta had also apologized, but she felt too full of shame to stay and decided to move out of the mansion. Willard followed his mom and helped her start a new life. What about me? Well, I got the thing I've always dreamt of, to be Madame Primrose's apprentice. That's her gift to me for bringing both her cat and her grandson back. And Right now, I'm late for a date with a very special guy. Can you guess who it is?
Hey guys, Private Davis here. Yep, Taylor Davis, the girl who secretly disguised herself as her twin brother to attend an all-boy military school. In the last part, I had to deal with my fair share of challenges, but having Tom and Henry, my two best pals by my side, made things way easier. But still, there were problems my two comrades couldn't help me with, such as this situation right now involving Ellis, finding out about my real identity. Not that I'm interested in your mess, but I need to find my brother Jacob. So, let's make a deal. I'll keep your secret if you help me find him. What? How am I meant to find a guy I don't even know? To my surprise, Ellis then truthfully told me his story. Turns out, he came to this school for 2 reasons: to punish those who picked on Jacob and to find clues about his disappearance. Meanwhile, I coincidentally met this Jacob guy outside of school and found his dog tag, so I was the only lead he had for now. But could I really trust this guy? I mean, just look at what he did to Eric. If you don't want to do it, then I can go to the principal's office. Okay, so what? I found the dog tag while we snuck out to a local girls' school. That's all I know. If you spill my secret, I won't let you find your brother in peace either. So you better know a way to take me to that school. I'll pick the time to make a move, and you just try your best not to get caught. The next morning, I was walking to class as usual when I passed a bunch of guys huddled together, whispering something about me? Huh? Wait, did Ellis reveal my identity to everyone? Such a fraud! I ran to find him, but accidentally crashed into this boy called Finley. I helped him up as the whispers around us got even louder. Guess you're one of the alleged suspects too. Finley then told me that yesterday, someone discovered a box that looked just like a pack of candy in the bathroom, but inside were a bunch of tampons. So now the students thought there was either a pervert on campus or that one of us was secretly a girl. And according to them, anyone who never joined the public shower was suspicious. Oh no, what if they found out the tampons were mine? Guys, hot girl alert! Everyone immediately forgot about me and flocked to him. The buzz on campus was that an inspection officer was staying here for a few months, and he'd brought his beautiful daughter Ivy along with him. People said she looks like a fairy with this ethereal vibe. Just then the inspector, Ivy, and his group stepped into the hallway. I watched them all drool over her. Poof, please. Anyone would think they'd never seen a girl before. She walked past these silly boys with a smug smile, but as soon as she caught sight of me standing there unfazed, she froze to the spot and stared straight at me. What? Was I supposed to show off my smitten face too? Dad, I need someone to show me around school. Can I take him? What? Why me? I couldn't even say anything as the principal had already agreed. Come on, let's go. Oh, you're so muscular. Ew, gross! Later on, she shooed Henry and Tom out of the entertainment room just because she wanted to spend time alone with me. Another time, when we were about to do our cleaning duty, Ivy popped out of nowhere and asked me to go hang with her. She even stopped 2 guys passing by and did her whole fluttering eyelashes routine to persuade them to do my cleaning duties instead. Ivy, I appreciate your help, but we all have our chores to do. This isn't fair on the others. Don't you get it, Jack? I did all this because I want to be close to you. I like you. I think you'll be better suited to someone else. Then I ran out of there, leaving everyone behind stunned at my harsh rejection. For the next couple of days, Ivy was furious and looked at me like she wanted to tear me to pieces. And the whispers started circulating again. They said that refusing a girl as beautiful as Ivy meant that I must have not had any interest in girls. Or even worse, I probably was a girl myself, and I was the one who dropped the tampons in the bathroom. Gosh, this was bad. That night, as usual, I just stepped out of the communal bathroom after a late night shower when someone suddenly dragged me into the equipment room. It was Ellis. What's going on? Just then, footsteps resounded from the hall. I held my breath as I anxiously waited for them to pass by. Phew, that was close. Turns out, that afternoon, Ellis heard the officers discussing security tightening, especially in the student communal bathroom area at night. So he waited for me outside and hid me just in time. He saved me. We tried to sneak through the new building close to our dorm, but unfortunately bumped into Ivy. What are you doing here? Trying to sneak out, huh? Officer!
It's not what you think. Jack came here to confess his feelings to you, right? Jack? Oh, yes. I think I'm fond of you.
Oh, yeah? Then why did you refuse me the other day?
He was just too insecure. I mean, you're quite the catch with your high-up dad, while he's just a private. But he can't ignore his feelings for you any longer, so...
Ugh, cringe. But it worked, as Ivy looked so moved and lunged forward to hug me. Then I guess we officially became a couple? And as Ellis planned, the rumors about me being a girl were replaced with jealous gazes. Now Ivy followed me to every class, every break time. I barely had any time alone. This tactical combat course was my only chance to get away from her. We had to go to this warehouse to practice saving a mannequin captive. I was focusing on the mission, but still got caught by an enemy. Wait, it was Ellis? He seemed agitated and told me we needed to leave this Friday afternoon. As we were discussing how to sneak out of school, why do you need to meet up? We almost jumped out of our skin. Ivy!
Why are you sneaking up on us? What did you hear?
Just you asking my boyfriend out? Oh, I see what's going on here. You like Jack, don't you? Weirdly, Ellis seemed flustered. He was sweating and mumbling out nonsense. Was he that scared of Ivy? Suddenly, Ivy grabbed my collar, trying to kiss me? Panicked, I shoved her duck face away. Just in time, the siren went off, signaling the course was over, so I ran out of there. To avoid Ivy, the plan changed to early Friday morning. I had to fake an injury to get out of class. Ellis and I met up at the back door, jumped into the milk delivery truck, and let it take us to the local girls' school. When we arrived, I led him to the school entrance where I'd found Jacob's dog tag. We spoke to some students, but no one knew who Jacob was, and people started to stare at us as if we were creeps. We were about to give up when this woman approached us.
Why are you looking for Jacob?
You look exactly like him. Turned out she's Mrs. Walker, a teacher here, and she knows Jacob. Her husband found him dazed and injured at the edge of the woods and took him in. His health got better with time, but his happiness didn't. So when prom came, Mrs. Walker told Jacob to go and enjoy the night, hoping he'd feel better. But he returned early and was only invested in this dog tag he'd picked up from someone named Jack Davis, since that was also the name of Jacob's favorite drag queen who performed at big theaters. This incident then gave Jacob a push to take action. He always wanted to live with his true self, but he'd been lost along the way. So he decided to venture to find Jack Davis, the role model that might be the only one who could help him now. He had parted ways with the Walkers to go on this self-discovery journey not long ago. On the way back, Ellis and I stayed quiet. I didn't expect Jacob to know my twin brother. Should I tell Ellis that I might know where Jacob went? But I couldn't just lead him to my home to find his brother, as my parents didn't know I'd disguised as Jack and joined this all-boy military school. If they ever found out about this, I could kiss my soldier dreams goodbye. When the truck stopped, I got off and was about to go back to the dorm when Ellis pulled my hand.
You know that Jack, right? Is he your twin brother? If it's true, then please tell me where he is.
I'm sorry, but I can't. I've got homework to do. Then I left as he called after me. The next day, I tried to avoid Ellis, but he was ahead of me. He was desperate, but I just shook my head.
You selfish fraud!
Right away, Tom ran to stand between me and Ellis while Henry defended me.
What, you want to become the next Eric? Get lost, you jerk!
Oh no. I tried explaining to them that Ellis didn't mean any harm, but they didn't listen and just pulled me away from him. I felt so bad. For that whole day, I kept thinking about what had happened. Ellis was right. I was selfish. He might never see his brother again because of me. I had to go help him. But when I got to his room, his roommate said he'd already taken his annual leave to go find his brother. Oh no. He must have figured out my home address somehow. I gotta go home, but how to get out of school? It wasn't milk delivery day. As I was thinking, Tom and Henry approached me, asking why I was acting so weird. This was it. I guess I shouldn't lie to them any longer.
Guys, I have something to tell you.
I'm actually a girl. Then I told them why I came here in the first place. how things got entangled with Ellis, and now he went looking for my house as his brother might be there. I waited for them to be mad, but instead, they smiled gently at me. That's a pretty big secret to carry. Girl or boy, this changes nothing. You're still our friend. They were not angry with me. I felt so relieved knowing that I didn't have to hide anything from them anymore. Now I just needed to figure out a way to go home.
We can handle this. Go wait near the back gate.
And I did. Just in time, the fire alarm went off, and all officers guarding the gate ran to that direction. A few seconds later, the back gate suddenly opened and the CCTV went off, and I just slid through easily. Luckily, I arrived home before Ellis did. My heart was pounding when I knocked on the door. Then Mom and Dad opened it. Needless to say, seeing their daughter dressed as a boy soldier was a huge shock. I quickly explained to them how I'd secretly taken Jack's place, and their faces kept turning darker and darker.
How could you lie to us, then illegally enter an all-boys military school? What were you thinking?
Right then, Jack, my twin, rushed down the stairs. He immediately got what was going on and backed me up.
Mom, Dad, this has been Taylor's dream ever since she was little. This is dangerous. If you get caught, you could be sent to a juvenile center. Pack your bags and quit the school right now.
In that heated moment, Ellis barged in.
Jacob? Jacob! Are you here? Where did you hide him?
I tried to calm him, but it was no use. The whole scene was chaotic. Then suddenly he stopped dead, staring at the stairs. Huh? Someone else was here. Someone with silky, long hair, a beautifully made-up face, in a super pretty dress. It was Jacob. He apologized to my parents for his brother's behavior. Then we all sat down as he told us how he realized from a young age that he was interested in feminine things. So he used to sneak into his mom's closet and use her clothes and makeup. One time, his parents caught him and they were so worried about his deviant behavior, they forced him to attend military school, hoping to straighten him up. But of course, he didn't fit in there and was fed up with being teased by Eric. So when he saw a chance to run away, he did so without hesitation, cutting off all ties with the school and his family. Luckily, the walkers found him in the woods and took great care of him. Still, it wasn't enough. He needed to discover his true self. So we came to Jack's.
I beg of you, don't make me go back home again. I can't stand the disappointed look on Mom and Dad's faces. I just want to be myself. I know it must be hard, but you gotta go home and face your parents. Once they know how you truly feel, they'll understand.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for being so reckless, but being a soldier is my dream. Please give me a chance.
I can't let you do it. But you can have till the end of the semester to pack your stuff and say your goodbyes. That's it.
Just then, I heard footsteps outside. It was Ivy. What was she doing here? You tricked me. I already knew there was something weird going on with you and Ellis. But you're a girl? Lucky me, I had your whole secret recorded here. Let's see how my dad punishes you, fraud. This is bad. Ellis and I jumped into his car and drove back to the school immediately. But we arrived back to an unexpected situation. The principal, aka Eric's dad, was already packing his things, and a strange lady with a stern look was sitting at his desk. Wait, did this mean we had a new principal? Yep, turns out the inspection officer came to school to investigate our principal on allegations that he'd been condoning his son's mistreatment of other students. And it was none other than Ellis here who had been gathering up evidence to help him. Then what about me? Well, in return for Ellis's assistance, the officer decided to let me stay and study here. In fact, the new principal even had some other plans. Finally, it's the end of the semester. Whew! And you know what? Our school now officially welcomes female students, which means I'm legitimately the first girl in school. I'm so grateful for our new principal. Meanwhile, me, Henry, and Tom are still the best of comrades. Obviously, nothing could ever stand between us. And of course, my parents are okay with me staying since I don't have to hide my real identity anymore. About Jacob, he actually listened to Jack's advice and went home to talk to his parents. They were shocked to see him like that, but as he poured his heart out to them, they decided to slowly accept the real him. As for his brother, Ellis, we went through a lot together, and now we're best friends. There might be some sparks between us, though. But I don't know. Let's just wait and...
Hey guys, my name is Leah, a typical nerdy girl and a huge fan of Ace, the most talented, brilliant, incredible actor ever. But in the limelight, I transform into Aubrey Fern, the glamour star of the hottest movie right now. Follow me crush with the real-life Ace. How is it possible? Well, I just got really lucky. That day, I was walking home from college when I suddenly felt like someone was following me. This sketchy guy was definitely up to no good. So I changed my route through this stinky alley, trying to lose him. But he stayed relentless and chased after me. So, you've chosen death then. When he was 10 feet away, I picked up a trash can and dumped it on his head. Grabbed a golf club nearby and started smashing non-stop. You creep! You mess with the wrong, innocent, helpless little girl!
Stop! Who are you calling creep? I'm an artist manager from Moon Entertainment.
Wait, Moon Entertainment? As in Ace's management label? Then why didn't you say so? Turns out his name was Grayson, and he's not here for my angelic voice or charismatic dance moves, but guess what? For my face. This guy must be a comedian.
A few days ago, you used the celebrity twin filter on TikTok, and the result was Aubrey Fern, an actress under our management, correct?
Yeah?
Moon Entertainment actually created that filter. We were looking for someone who looks just like Aubrey to replace her.
Okay, I must have hit his head too hard. I'd better get away from him quick. But he caught me right away and immediately teleported me to the company headquarters. Even the CEO himself came to welcome me. They were dead serious about me filling Aubrey's shoes. Heck, her whole identity. Apparently, the actress found showbiz too stressful and decided to quit. But she was one of the top faces of the company, so they couldn't just let her disappear. Out of nowhere, the door swung open and entered Ace! He rushed towards me, genuinely concerned, and gently dabbed my nose dry with his own sleeve.
So, this is who I'll be dating? Looking forward to that.
What? Dating?
That's right, Leah. I've just released a statement of Ace and Aubrey dating. People are going wild. As the new Aubrey, you'll get a once-in-a-lifetime chance to be Ace's girlfriend. Just for show, of course. But who knows? He seems into you.
I think I just hit the jackpot. Aubrey 2.0, here she comes. The next day, I arrived at a top beauty salon for a celebrity makeover. From the shine of my hair to the size of my pores, everything had to be flawless. And you wouldn't believe how many designer outfits and jewelry I got to try on. I looked like $1 million. Ace was gonna freak out the next time he saw me.
You may look like Aubrey, but your personality needs some work.
Jeez, who spat in your coffee this morning?
Anyway, you better tidy up, 'cause I'm moving into your house.
What? No way! You and your spiteful mouth should stay 10 feet away from me, or else I'll call security.
Huh! Guess what, Miss Diva? It says right here in the contract that your manager, aka me, has to supervise you 24/7 so you don't spill anything confidential.
You're bluffing.
Am I, though?
I stared at the contract, too stunned to speak. Why did I sign without reading it first? The guy's a nightmare. He even pretended to be an Italian exchange student and followed me to class. Weirdly, all the girls on campus were gushing over his fake accent.
Sei un porco.
I don't know what's more pathetic, his Italian accent or that you guys are actually swooning for that. Uh-oh, these girls did not know how to take a joke. Whoa, you guys wouldn't want to touch my face. My contract says it's worth, but before I could say another word, Grayson dragged me away like a rag doll. Other than that, life as Aubrey was amazing. I got to appear on loads of magazine covers, attended a bunch of exclusive events, and starred in the most anticipated rom-com of the year. And you know what the best part was? Ace was right by my side. Imagine being this close to your idol every day. You could just fall head over heels for him, literally. But no worries, people would still think that you're cute, as long as you know how to pose for the camera. One time, I heard Ace say that his ideal type is a girl with healthy, sun-kissed skin. So I figured I should give tanning a try. But when I arrived at the film set the next day, everyone laughed at me, saying I looked like a half-dried-up squid. This was so humiliating. Bet Grayson had a blast making fun of me. But instead, he rushed to put his jacket over my head to cover me up.
Why are you trying so hard for that narcissist? You look ridiculous. I think she looks kind of cute. Just needs a bit of blending.
It's Ace! He's standing up for me. His handsome face suddenly came super close to mine.
Care to go on a date with me tonight?
Yes, 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 a million times yes. I immediately went home after work, scrubbed off the stupid tanning lotion, and got ready at lightning speed. We're meeting at this private restaurant on the 32nd floor of a luxurious building. And there Ace was, the brightest star amongst the city lights, waiting for me. He was so gentle and sweet. We were having the best time. His dreamy eyes looked at me like he was about to say something. Something sweet, I could sense it. When flashlights came from nowhere, blinding us. Paparazzi? How did they get in here?
Aubrey, is it really you in the picture?
Ace, what does it feel like being cheated on? What are they talking about? Just then, a strong arm suddenly grabbed my waist and pulled me out of the crazy crowd. It was Grayson. I'd never felt happier seeing his grumpy face. We got into the van, and Grayson showed us his article of me kissing a random guy at a beach resort. What? This must have been photoshopped. We gotta clear this up. Ace didn't listen to my words. His face was twitching in anger.
Do you have any idea how this affects my career? Me being cheated on? That's just pathetic. Pull over. I need to get out. I can't stand you right now.
He slammed the door shut, then stormed off. I was speechless. I'd never seen this scary and mean side of him before.
Don't mind him. He can be a real douchebag sometimes. I'll get you some ice cream, then we'll go home, okay?
Grayson's words cheered me up. I'm honestly touched by this cold hands, warm heart kind of guy. Grayson tried his best to shield me from the public backlash, but it was all for nothing, as Moon Entertainment let false rumors spread like wildfire. Now Aubrey, aka me, was being badmouthed everywhere. A tramp? A bimbo? Some even said I was a stain in Ace's career. That's it. I couldn't do this anymore. I launched into the CEO's office ready to give him a piece of my mind, but he was just chilling with Ace.
Leah, just the person I'm looking for. I'm about to make an announcement stating Aubrey is not the one in the picture, and you and Ace are still deeply in love.
No thanks. I'm here to quit. This pressure is all too much.
Now, calm down. Maybe a nice trip to the city of love will help you relax, right, Ace? Of course. Let staff fix this while we take a break and maybe get to know each other better. Come on, I'll drive you home.
The last time we met, Ace went bonkers on me, and now he's being as nice as pie. Talk about Jekyll and Hyde. Suddenly, he stopped the car at the riverbank and turned to me.
Leah, I was wrong to take it out on you. I've never faced high pressure like that before, and I lost my mind. And you know what? That night, I was about to speak from my heart. I love you, Leah.
He pulled me in for a kiss. It was so out of the blue, I didn't even know what to think. But then he opened his eyes and looked at me. So in love, I couldn't help but give in.
Baby, I can't wait to be with you in Paris.
It was everything I'd ever wanted, right? That night, Moon Entertainment finally cleared up the rumor. That's not all. Pictures of Ace and I kissing were making the headlines. How did they get this picture? Those paparazzi are so sneaky. I was so perplexed and for some reason kept thinking about Grayson and how he would feel hearing this news. I came to the roof to see him sitting deep in thought. Hey, haven't you heard? They cleared up my scandal.
Remember, that's not your scandal, Leah. Don't let Moon Entertainment manipulate your life.
You don't trust them?
Yeah, and I don't trust Ace either.
It's got nothing to do with Ace. He's my boyfriend for real now. Plus, we're going to Paris for a romantic break. Grayson let out a solemn sigh. I guess he was just trying to protect me from the company. But he didn't need to protect me from Ace, right? He still went with us to Paris and lingered in the background with a stone-cold face. I was embracing this moment with Ace, and as we strolled together, a group of fangirls recognized him and flocked around us. One of them even held him back, crying like a lunatic. Ace, don't you miss me? You promised.
What are you talking about? Leave me alone.
He pushed the girl aside, then dashed out of the crowd. I tried to follow him, but a hand suddenly snatched mine. It was a girl burying her face under a mask and pair of sunglasses. She snuck a USB into my hand and said, Ace's darkest secrets are in here. You're scaring me. What do you want? The girl tried to reply, but Grayson cut in between us and pulled me away. We ran and ran under the sunlight of a spring day in Paris. Why was this single moment way more romantic than anything I had with Ace, my idol? Could it be that I have fallen for Grayson? Grayson took me back to the hotel, looking somber as he turned to leave. At that moment, I realized I didn't want to let him go. He was the only one who understood me and got me through this crazy double life, not Ace. Neither he nor his celebrity lifestyle suit me. Ace would be better off without me in the way of his stardom. Grayson had tried warning me many times. Maybe the girl in the mask knows something. I plugged the USB into my laptop and a video popped up on the screen. There's proofs of Moon Entertainment manipulating the media all these years to cover up for Ace's scandalous private life. Dark things us fans have never seen before. His anger issues, his drinking problem, his cheating scandal? I scrolled down to see a dozen pictures of him with different girls kissing. And they're not just random girls, but his actual fans. I know them. Look, it's the crying girl this afternoon, and this one is a well-known admin of one of his fan sites. This was unbelievable. He'd been playing his entire fandom for fools. Right then, I heard grunting sounds coming from the balcony. Someone was trying to climb into my room. Wait, the stranger who gave me the flash drive? For all I knew, she could be a dangerous stalker, given all this proof she somehow had. Panicked, I grabbed the USB, ran straight to Grayson's room, calling for help. His door opened just as the stalker reached us. He hit me behind his back and faced that crazy masked girl.
Better not make another move or you'll be locked up in jail right this minute.
The girl stopped, hands in the air. The moment we took off her disguise, I was shocked to the core. It was Aubrey.
I know this seems crazy, but please listen to me. What you saw in that USB is the truth. Ace's manager provided me with it. What USB? And you didn't choose to leave the industry? The CEO even made all the staff delete your contacts and basically erase your existence.
That snake has been lying to you all this time. I didn't quit. I just wanted a little time off to deal with my mental health. So I went on a digital detox for a while. When I came back, I found out I was already fired without a reason and replaced by a lookalike. I was so devastated I didn't know what to do. Luckily, Ace's manager reached out to help me. He's witnessed Ace's true face, and he despised it. But Moon Entertainment's trapped him in a contract lasting till the end of Ace's career. There's no way out for him until now. His manager has been secretly collecting and sending me evidence, then told me to come to you, because you're also one of their victims, just like us. Gosh, this was unbelievably messed up. You know where he went after our encounter this afternoon? I shook my head in confusion, as she showed me a video of Ace making out with one of the girls earlier at a party. How could he be so shameless? Did us fans look like fools to him? No need to hesitate anymore. I'll take this douche down, in the name of his devoted fandom. I went on to play Ace's girlfriend both in the movies and in real life, while Aubrey used my identity to find a new part-time job as a monitoring staff at the National Broadcasting Station, the organizers of this year's Movie Sensation Awards. No way Ace wouldn't attend, since he was nominated for Best Leading Actor. Poor guy. He has no idea what's in store for him. And there Aubrey is. With the help of Grayson, no one even notices we've switched back. I've also managed to earn Aubrey the host position for this year's award. Now take a seat. The show has begun. And the Best Leading Actor goes to Ace! Classic Ace played out his surprised and emotional act when he got on stage.
I would like to thank my fans for the support they've given me all these years. I'd be nothing without them.
Yeah, right. Now mic off, lights off. Here's the evening's main event. Ace's true face as a deceitful womanizer. Everyone gasped and started whispering. I shine a spotlight on the audience and a girl stands up. I'm one of the girls in those pictures. He told all of us girls he and Aubrey are just a publicity stunt so that we would date him in secret.
I was his photographer once, and he literally screamed at me for 20 minutes because I didn't get his good angle. I'm a bartender at his frequented bar where he gets wasted, hits on girls, and starts fighting with random guys every day.
The audience start booing and throwing things at Ace. The cherry on top is that this whole fiasco is being broadcasted live worldwide. It's safe to say no one will ever be fooled by this douchebag again. Which means my work here is done. I go outside to see paparazzi and fans swarming around Aubrey. She handles them so gracefully it looks effortless. The limelight isn't for me, and that's fine. I'm glad I'm back to being a normal girl who doesn't have to care about public opinion. Best part is, I get to date my idol manager boyfriend over there. I'm thinking a nice home-cooked dinner to celebrate our successful plan. And our 1-month anniversary as well. What do you think?